Good afternoon, Your Honor. Eric Rice, RICE, on behalf of Mr. Stallings, who is present. I'll defer to him to read his impact statement now, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Mr. Stallings. If you could please state your full name.
My name is Jaleel Stallings.
Thank you.
So I have my statement. My life was upended by Officer Stetson. Every aspect of my life irrevocably altered by his choices. He took an oath to serve and protect our community. In his official role as a police officer, he received more than 1,200 hours of training on subjects like de-escalation and appropriate use of force, and yet he found humor in mocking and literally targeting the very people he was supposed to protect. He not only did not uphold his oath to serve and protect, he couldn't even be trusted to obey the law. Unprovoked and without warning, he and his SWAT team shot me in my chest with a less lethal round, but he became enraged and believed his own safety was in question. He brutally beat me. I offered no resistance. I was terrified and assumed I would not live through the physical attack, but I did. Even though I was the one taken from that parking lot in cuffs rather than my attackers, I believe I survived the worst. You can see in my booking photo that despite my face being bloody and bruised and my eye socket broken, I was smiling. I was relieved and surprised to be alive. I was confident I would be freed as soon as someone spoke with other officers who witnessed my beating. I was sure that Mr. Stetson and others had acted so blatantly against their oaths and against the law that they'd be fired and charged for their crimes, and I'd be able to resume my quiet life in St. Paul, safe and surrounded by my friends and family. I wouldn't be smiling in that photo if I had any idea of the abuse that was still to come. I'm proud that I can say I made the right choices that night, given the information that I had in accordance with the law. I acted with self-control and caution to protect my community without injuring anyone when a group of unidentified men shot me in the chest from an open door of an unmarked white van. I didn't know it was less lethal rounds. I thought I was being attacked by a group of white supremacists. And the burning sensation that I felt in my chest made me think that I was probably bleeding out. Yet, even in that moment, when I thought I was about to die, I applied my military training to take decisive action to protect those around me. I shot to disrupt my attackers. Afterward, when they finally identified themselves as police officers, I immediately discarded my legal registered firearm and took position of submission. I complied with every demand of the officers, and I maintained that submissive position and stayed calm, compliant demeanor even while they beat me and screamed insults at me. In contrast, this officer who was on duty and collecting the paycheck to protect the city while it was at its most vulnerable was unwilling or unable to control his urge to shoot at citizens unprovoked, to punch me in the face, neck and head, to slam my head on the concrete, and to kick me over and over again. The officer of the law who chose to shot at me without cause has lost control so completely that he complained afterward to another officer that he thought he had broken his hand. Imagine for a moment if our roles were reversed. Would I be sitting here accepting a plea deal that allows me to avoid permanent felony charge, marring my record? I already served 5 days in jail with a broken eye socket and tips, bruising, and internal bleeding from this man's attack. I can't escape the fact that the system I believe was designed to provide justice to citizens protecting my attacker, but not me. This theme will continue as we moved into my trial. Overwhelming evidence supported my truthful statements about what happened that night, and did not support the story presented in perfect uniformity by officers involved. In this court, former SWAT officer Stetson admitted that he submitted a false police report and lied to the other officers when he said I resisted. Yet he and the entirety of the Minneapolis Police Department seemed determined to punish me. They seemed confident they wouldn't face any accountability and earnest to put me away for 10 years or more of my life, just to cover up their bad actions. I have lived my life in a manner I can be proud of. I grew up well aware of the stereotypical image of a black man in America. I've done everything in my power to avoid becoming a statistic and to raise my standing and that image through the hard work we're so often told it would take to pull ourselves out of poverty. Despite the public consensus that is designed to work against us, I choose to believe in America's justice system. That smile in my mugshot shows my confidence that the system would work, yet at every stage of my legal journey, my beliefs were proven wrong. Other officers that night failed to intercede or even tell the truth about what happened. Investigators could easily have made use of all the evidence available to see what really happened. At every turn in this process, I have been shown that justice and accountability are not the true goals of the system. As we sit here today, We know I acted within my rights. Yet, I was charged with 8 felonies. A press release was issued that slandered me and destroyed my image to the world. Most media reported this story without first investigating their claims, and my reputation will forever be tarnished because of the lies of these officers. My case crossed the desks of many people who had the power to put an end to my abuse, but not the intestinal fortitude to stand up for the truth, either because they were too afraid or too complacent to be the voice of justice. For an entire year, I faced a trial date with the growing feeling that it represented the end of my life. The closer that they came with nobody speaking up to defend me, the more I believed I was marching towards my own death. How can we say it's a fair and just system when it's set up to inflict pain and suffering and impose almost unbearable financial burden? How can we say justice is served when civilians are held to a higher standard of law than those that are charged with upholding it? After all I endured, to have only one officer involved to be facing any type of repercussion is a slap in the face, not only to me, but to the entire community. This isn't an issue of a few bad apples. While I love to say Mr. Stetson was a rogue officer acting out of line, I now know better. The culture surrounding our law enforcement community needs to change. We saw body cam footage from that evening where officers and leadership gave commands designed to cause terror among the public, encouraging the type of behavior that Mr. Stetson is being reprimanded for today. In these last 3 years and a half, I've had a front row seat as a victim, suspect, defendant in my trial, plaintiff in a civil suit, and today I stand before you making a victim impact statement. I've learned that the systemic issues are pervasive in our entire criminal and justice systems. To be fair, there were good apples. For example, like Dina Winters, a local reporter, stood part in an investigative report and published facts that called the officers' actions into questions. It was on that same day that the MPD decided to launch an internal investigation that resulted in us being here today. The jury in my trial saw the same evidence that countless officials had seen in the preceding year, but they honored their duty to justice and unanimously acquitted me of all charges. By having the courage to stand up for what's right, they made a difference. While my entire life has been impacted by this experience, I'm also more fortunate than most. I can walk away from this experience today if I choose. Others who didn't have the benefits I had are in prison or in their graves. To honor them, I'll do everything that I can do to address systemic issues and improve the system so that others don't face the same abuse. Following my experience, I was left with 2 choices: to move forward with my life, to feel angry and bitter and filled with distrust, or to take action. I choose to take action. The problem isn't just a few apples, but I do believe the solution lies in the hands of the good apples. I've started a Good Apple initiative to change the culture of police and justice in Minnesota. If you want to elevate the integrity of our justice system, I hope you have the courage to join us in being a part of the change you want to see.
Thank you, Mr. Stallings.